Okay, awesome. Well, firstly, thank you for joining, guys. I know I did a quick session to the athletes that I coached last week. So for those of you that have come back for a second week, thank you. That's really cool. For everyone that's new, I'm just going to be going through and giving you a flavour for some core and strength exercises that I used to and still do to help out with riding. So the whole idea and the way I see strength and core is you've got two sides to it. You've got the activation and injury prevention side, and then you've got the bit that leans more into strength, and that's when we can actually use these exercises to help you become better on the bike, whether that's sprinting or climbing or just having better control when we're riding. I'm a huge fan of doing these. As any athlete knows that I coach, my favourite word is consistency. So the aim of today's session is not to finish and feel like you've just done 100 huge weight squats in the gym. You know, the idea is that you can ride really easily tomorrow and Sunday, and we're just going to give muscles that we don't normally work on the bike a bit of a wake up and a bit of a workout. So the idea is really that this is a small bite-sized session that you can do twice, 3 times a week, and you know, therefore be consistent. So that's the flavour. I guess the kind of the plus side of having it on Zoom, even though it feels a little bit clunky, is we're not in a class situation, so there's no peer pressure to kind of outdo your mates and you know, take it to a place where you're feeling slightly uncomfortable. Obviously, if you need a rest, you can take that. Again, there's no peer pressure to kind of go the full way. So just do what you can, and there'll be different levels that I will talk through as we're going on. So let's just come to our mat and just do a bit of a warm up. So for a lot of you, it's going to be early in the morning. This is where you might feel a bit like an idiot, but just go with it. Just going to start warming up, moving your ankles, moving your wrists. Just do whatever feels right. Bring a bit of movement into the rest of your arms. You know, we're not doing a huge cardiovascular system. This is just about trying to wake things up, move it into your shoulders, maybe do a couple of head rolls, then we'll move it into the legs, do a couple of ankle turns, a bit bigger into the knee, start working it into your hips. Then again on the other side, ankle, knee, hips. Do what feels right. I love this sort of kind of just dynamic stretching. So I'm just gonna work into my back, into my QL, go a bit deeper, start bringing to my lats and my obliques. Just generally start moving around. Now come down into that all fours position on your mat, and then just to continue with the same theme, just bring a bit of mobility into the spine, moving back and around. Kind of just do whatever feels right. You might feel you want to do a bit of a cat-cow pose, so that's when we've got our wrists stacked underneath our shoulders, knees stacked underneath our hips, and then we're just going to squeeze the abdominals in and raise our back up and look down between our thighs. And then doing the opposite, bringing the head up, doing a slight back bend, and then just repeat that a couple of times, waking the spine up. Making sure whenever we're doing these exercises that we've got those TVA, those transverse abdominals, locked in, supporting the spine. And then come back to a flat back, and then look round to the right in a nice twist, look around to the left. Do that a couple of times. And now we're going to start our kind of warm-up exercise. So we did this one last week, and we're basically, everyone should be fairly familiar with this because it's a very key exercise in the cinch activation exercises. But basically, I'm going to lead with my left, so I'm going to extend my left arm and my right leg, flexing that right foot. I don't want to hyperextend the back, so make sure that that right leg doesn't come up too high. And then I'm just going to place them both back down onto the ground. Switch over to my right leg, right arm and my left leg, keeping that foot flexed. Back into the center. Left arm for 3. Back into the center. Right arm for 4. Making sure that we've got a lot of mobility in the glutes. So it's the glutes that are keeping the leg up. The back's not doing too much work at this stage. We're just starting to warm everything up. Left arm for 7. Back again. Right for 8. Left for 9. And then right for 10. Back into that flat back neutral spine. Now we're going to add a little bit more hip flexor, a little bit more transverse abdominals into this exercise by extending that left arm, that right leg, and then we're going to take knee to elbow and do a little bit of a crunch. Come in for 1, for 2, for 3, pushing out as hard as you can, and then crunch when you come in. So I don't want you just to do these movements, I want you to really kind of tense the muscles when you come in, squeeze those transverse abdominals. Another 2, 1, done. Now onto the right side, so right arm extended, left leg, touch knee to elbow. 1, squeeze the transverse abdominals. 2, make sure that glute is engaged. 3, 4, 5. Don't come into your back, make sure that's completely supported. 7, 8, 9, one more, 10. Well done. Now I want to do some single leg raises, so this is just going to start to use that glute a little bit more, start to come into the hamstring. So same position again, I want you to extend your right leg out, toes tapping on the floor, and then I want to raise your right leg only enough so it's parallel with your back. Don't hyperextend and come into your back. Sucking in those transverse abdominals, and then lower the leg, touch toe to floor. So we'll do 10 of these. Come up, 1, down, 2, 3. You should feel this in the glute, it's a really subtle exercise. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And over onto the left side now, left leg out, toe on the floor. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the TVA, come up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep the glutes squeezed, TVA, keep that back supported. 2 more, 1, and have a bit of a breather. Now if you want to come back into child's pose, which is where you just sit back on your feet, extend your arms out in front of you, give yourself a nice stretch. So your back should be warmed up now. We bring a bit of a movement into the glutes, recruited the hamstrings, TVA started working. You should be quite warm now. Maybe it's just me here in Spain, but should get the idea. We've opened everything up. And now we're going to do an exercise that we did last week. So this is twists. Oh, I love this exercise. For those of you that are new, it's one of those sorts of ones that incorporates a lot of muscles that we use on the bike. So we're going to be doing a twist into a body squat, body weight squat. So we're going to be using our quads. They're going to be completely engaged. Our glutes are going to be supporting us. We're going to be using that transverse abdominals. We're going to be using our obliques, our lats, everything's going to be engaged. And this is basically, so when you're standing out of the saddle, or maybe you're mountain biking and you're supporting yourself on your pedals, you haven't got this completely loose core going on. Everything's tight, everything is generating power. All that power that you're generating into your legs isn't getting wasted anywhere. So if you've brought along a weight, a couple of little handheld weights, we can use those. I'm going to use a medicine ball just because it's a little bit heavier than the weights that I've got. Let me demonstrate the exercise first. So I want you to stand shoulder width apart, so a little bit wider than hip width, and hold your weight out, not too far. You want a slight bend in your elbows, a bit like you would when you're on a bike. I want you to come down into a squat, and then we're just going to twist one side, look to that side, come back to the center, twist around to another side, come back to the center, and then stand up. So that's the movement. Obviously, if you haven't got any weights, you can still do the exercise. If you have got weights and you're using just a handheld, instead of having your arms together, you know, making that sort of shape, try and just have your arms with space in between. And the reason being is because that's how your hands are on the handlebars. So all of the exercise we're doing, we're trying as close as possible to mimic the shape that we're in when we're on the bike. So let's go. Weight out, lock in that TVA, support the back, squeeze the glutes, and then down. Twist round to the left for 1, center, right, middle, coming up. Now the key for this exercise is our hips are not going anywhere, they're tracking forward, so are the knees. Do not move those hips and knees. Obviously the larger the weight, the harder this exercise is. Down for 3, round to the left, center, right, center. Hopefully you can feel it in your core starting to work. Very subtle movements. And up, down again for 5. Make sure those feet are still pointing forwards. Make sure the knees aren't twisting from side to side. 5 more, halfway through, guys, well done. Just round to the left and the right. Look if you can. Coming back up and down again. If you want to take the squat deeper, that's absolutely fine. There's no limit on that. 4 more, down. Well done, Robin. Excellent. 3 to go. Making sure those knees are keeping forward. We don't want any injuries. We want to keep all that tension in the core. 2 to go. You can do this on a Bosu if you want. I normally do it on a Bosu, but I can't do that and watch Zoom and try and talk. I'm not that good yet. Maybe in a few weeks that's the challenge. Sophie does this on a Bosu. Awesome. That's your 10, well done. Now the reason I like doing kind of higher reps like that, so 10 to 20, is we're going for that endurance strength. So we're not looking to build bulk muscle. You know, we're not doing these short, sharp, explosive exercises. It's about controlling the exercise. It's about getting that strength into the core through repetitions. So, well done, you all looked awesome on that one. Really, really great exercise. Whew, it's hot here. Right, the next exercise that I'd like us to do is basically a variation on a plank. So, planks are great because, again, they fully engage your transverse abdominals. You bring in a bit of upper body weights into this, that comes into play. You've obviously got your glutes and your posterior chain that's working. How do I turn this into bike specific? So if everyone or some people have brought a handheld weight, I love using these whenever I do any sort of plank exercise because they're really good at mimicking a bar. So if you've got a hexagonal weight, I'd like you to do the plank, but gripping onto a weight. So if you're a mountain biker and you like to do a lot of mountain biking, I want you to have the weight horizontal, and I want you to hold on to the bar like that to mimic being on a bike. If you're mainly a gravel rider or a road rider, then I'd like you to have the dumbbells vertical like that, because that's the hand position you're going to be in when you're on the bike. Your forearms are very much facing inwards, as they would be if the weights are vertical. I'm going to trump all of you, and I was very lucky at Christmas that I got this awesome little bit of kit, which is basically a mountain bike bar fitted into, I don't know, like a plastic block, but it serves exactly the same purpose as using weights. So if you've got the weights, go for it. If you haven't, obviously just do a plank normally with your hands. So the next exercise, basically, if I just talk you through it, we're going to be in a plank position, and then we're just going to use our legs in lots of different ways, either coming in centrally or out to either elbow, just to give a little bit of movement, give the brain something to think about, and just engage those muscles in a slightly different way. If at any point this is too much, just come down onto your knees. Don't collapse into your back, don't collapse into your shoulders. I'd rather you did less reps, but of a really, really high quality, and we don't want any injuries happening, so make sure that back is completely supported. So if we come into a plank position now, so fire up the glutes, fire up the back, make sure your shoulders are nice and strong, suck the belly button into the spine, and then we're just gonna come in with our right leg, so bending the knee, and then back out again, and then left, exactly the same movement. And we're just gonna do that a couple of times. So right leg in, left leg in, right leg in, left leg in, right leg in, left leg in. Now this is awesome because you're using your glutes, using your hip flexors. That's standing, high cadence, body position we all hate, this is going to really help out with that. So just keep going, really subtle movement. Let's go for 4 more. 3, 2, 1. Come down onto your knees. Have a little breather. Suck glutes, fire everything up again, back into your plank. Now we're going to take right knee to right elbow and back, left knee to left elbow and back, and again, right, left, right, left. Keep sucking that TVA in, don't collapse in your back. Feel the burn. Let's go for 2 more. Awesome. Well done everyone, really great work. Now we're going to add in a slight twist, and we're going to go from alternate knee to elbow. So right knee to left elbow, left knee to right elbow. So back in plank position, fire everything up. Right knee to left elbow or wrist, depending on how flexible you are. Left knee and twist, right, twist left. Now you'll have a dominant side. One side will be easier than the other. Keep going with it. Let's do another 4 more. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Whew. Well done guys. You might want a bit of an abdominal stretch now. So hands up in the air, interlink the fingers. Just have a nice stretch. Circle the arms round so they end up behind your back. Interlink the fingers again. Take a slight back bend. Longing the body, stretching out that front TVA. Right, now I would like everyone to come into a glute bridge. So glute bridges are awesome for not only activating but also strengthening that posterior chain. So posterior chain is all of the muscles at the back of your body. There's lots of different levels that we can go through. If you've got something like a pack of books or a Bosu that you want to put your feet on, awesome, go for it. If not, we'll just be in the basic glute bridge position. So if I ask you to come down to lie on your mat, and if you know that glute bridges are a bit of a challenge, then just keep your arms resting on the ground. If not, I want you to bring them up into a prayer position on your chest. So there's literally nothing supporting you when you come up. And legs, don't stack them directly under your knees. You want them, I don't know, a good couple of hand widths away from your glutes. And that just means that you start to engage your hamstrings a bit more. So, hands into a prayer, suck in that TVA. Imagine you've got, I don't know, £20 note or $20 bill, whatever, underneath the small of your back. You're pushing that into the ground. It's a windy day. That $20 bill is not going anywhere. And we're going to keep in that position the whole time we're doing these exercises. So hands together, tense the glutes, peel your spine off one vertebrae at a time. Now it's really important we don't come into our spines too much. So hips must be parallel with the knees. Then I want you to really squeeze both of your glutes, lift up your right leg 90 degrees and then straighten it out. And then slowly lower that right leg down to the floor. Slowly. Heel touches, then it comes right back up again. Very slowly, making sure you really feeling that burn in the hamstring and the glute. Bend the leg, touch back down. Now if that's too easy, when we roll the spine back down, you can, if you want, add in an arm movement whereby as we squeeze the glutes and peel the spine up, the arms come over the head and we just hover them above our head. So we're going to squeeze the glutes, lift up that left leg 90 degrees, stretch out one leg, hips are in line with knees, and then lower that left leg down to the ground, touch it, and then come all the way back again, really slowly. This is a controlled movement. Up to the starting point, bend the leg and back down. And then as we roll the spine down, we roll the arms back. Now if that's still too easy, we can come up onto our toes when we're in a bridge. So whatever level you feel you're comfortable with, let's go for 5 of these. So, squeezing the glutes, lifting the spine off, one vertebrae at a time, come to your resting point. Squeeze the glutes even more, lift the leg up, straighten it, taking it down and down, bring it back up again. Slowly, bend the right leg, place the right leg down on the floor, lift the left leg up, straighten it, squeeze the hamstring, squeeze the glute. This is a controlled movement. It won't feel like it's doing anything, but I promise it is. Touch the heel on the ground, bring it back up again, bend the knee, place the left leg back, and again on the right. If you want to go up into your toes, you can. Straighten the leg and then down. Now all of these power floors are built off posterior strength. Hamstrings, going to help you in your power flats. And then if you really nail that standing body position, your hip flexors, your glutes, your hamstrings, they're all going to be involved. Bend the leg, both legs on the floor now. Squeeze will come into the left leg, bend it, straighten, and control all the way down to the ground. Touch with the heel, back up. Do not collapse into your back. Excellent, both legs down, and then we're going to come out of our glute bridge. Resist the urge to hug in. Do not bring your knees into your chest. Just let the spine settle. If you want to have a bit of a stretch, let's take a full body stretch. So arms above the head, legs out in front of you. Just let the spine settle. Maybe have a bit of a twist from either side, and then hug the legs in. So there's lots of variations you can play around with on a glute bridge, and it's really about just doing what feels best with you. Like I said, if you want to make that significantly harder, then put your legs on a Bosu ball. That not only creates a bit of instability for your feet, but because you're raising your feet up and creating that height change between your glutes and your feet, then you're actually working your hamstrings a lot more. So just turns it into an activation exercise, into like a real pure strength one. So awesome exercise to do. Next, I'd like you to pick up your weights if you've got weights. We're going to have a weight in each hand. If you haven't, I don't know, are you close to the kitchen? Tin of tomatoes in each hand, gallon of milk, I don't know, get creative. If not, just park it and do this next time. We did this last week. It's an exercise that I love for building stability in the core when you're descending on a mountain bike. For those of you that don't mountain bike, there will definitely be a time when you're gravel riding where you will need to come up off the saddle, either because the descent is so steep you want to put your weight back, or it could be just because it's so bumpy that you physically can't sit down, and actually you're going to descend better if you're up the saddle. So when we're in that position, we're 100% relying on our legs to support us. We're relying on our legs to absorb all those bumps. We're relying on our core so we can control the bike and it's not moving around all underneath us. We rely on our core to make sure we've still got our steering capability. You know, everything needs to be tied together. Your hands are your contact point in front, your feet are your contact point beneath, and what's connecting them, your core. So this exercise is really going to challenge your obliques, it's going to challenge your TVA. You'll get a little bit of a lower leg workout because we're going to absorb your body weight in that. So I want you to come into a split leg squat position. So this is not, you know, leg miles back like you're in a lunge. It's, you know, a step apart. You still want your legs to be shoulder width apart, but just one in front of the other. Let's go for left leg front first. And then I want you just to bend your legs slightly. So making sure that that front knee doesn't come over your front toe. You can, if you want, lift your rear heel up off the ground. It really doesn't matter, but remember, we're trying to mimic that position we're in when our pedals are horizontal and we're descending. So that's really what we're aiming for. I want your weights in both hands, and then just without, you know, core going anywhere, legs tracking straight forward, I want you to roll the body down to the left, lifting that right arm up, and then really controlled using the core coming back to neutral, and then down on the right hand side, and then back to neutral. And we'll do this 10 times. If your legs hurt at any point, then just come up, reset, and then go down again. Now obviously this exercise is going to get significantly harder depending on how much weight you've got, so you can alter that. If you don't have any weights, then you just need to be doing more reps, so you need to be going deeper. So it's also a great exercise to bring a bit of mobility into your core, stretching your QL, lengthening those obliques because sometimes they get tight on the bike. Whoa, that's not what we want to do, wobble. And just 2 more. Awesome, now we'll switch legs. So everything that we do, we need to make sure that we do it both legs. So again, split squat stance, bouncing the legs, locking the core, locking the glutes, weight in each side. We'll go down to the left first for 1. Right. Now again, you'll have a dominant side, so this side for me feels way worse than the other side. That's why it's important that we do both to iron out all those imbalances. Make sure we're comfortable on both legs. And I don't want you jerking up, you know, it's not a case of just slamming your body up, it's really controlling it. So all these exercises are really easy unless we do them controlled. So just 2 to go. Awesome. The last thing I want to do is, for those of you that were here last week, just have another go at the sock exercise. Now I've stupidly come unprepared to my own class and not brought a pair of socks. So I'm going to try and use my phone. So for those of you that weren't here, a lot of questions that were coming through was like, how do you keep those reaction speeds? Oh, cue a pair of socks, thanks James. How do you keep those reaction speeds going? How do you make training a little bit fun? And I'm going to give full credit to Kate Courtney on this one. This is a really cool exercise that I nicked off her Instagram. And basically we're going to come into the plank position and then just see if we can throw a pair of socks and catch it with the opposite hand. See if you can beat how many you did last time. We're not going to do this exercise for long. Like I said, it's literally just a bit of fun. And it, you know, it's another variation of doing the plank, but it just, I don't know, it's just a fun little game to do at the end, just to change things up, spice it up a little bit. So if we all want to give that a go, let's go for it. So let's get in our plank position. We've got our pair of socks. This is like moment of truth. I haven't done this since last week, naughty. So see if I can just catch the socks. And the idea is you don't want to be tipping from side to side too much. You want to be keeping as level as you can. That's a real test of how strong you are in your core. You have to throw the socks higher than you think you need to. Cool, I'm actually doing quite well. It's surprising, well, famous last words, eh? It's surprising how quickly your body and your mind adapts to exercise. So again, this is why I love consistency. So never want to make these sessions too long, too difficult, that they're you know, really daunting to do. They've got to be like bite-sized chunks that you can do 2 or 3 times a week. So I don't know, I'm going to give this another one a go. So plank position, see if I can beat my PB. Ah! Maybe I should tag Kate Courtney and ask her to give me a score. Keep going, everyone. Oh, whew. God, I want to see how everyone's getting on. I want to be nosy. Go on, Robin. Keep going. Oh, nice one, Erica. Well done, Dan. Yay, Michelle! Go, Jenna! Oh my God, Jenna's like a boss. Jenna's SD score on throwing socks would be 4 right now. She's literally setting a PB, everyone. Oh no, Fleet just did a face plant. Yeah, that's not that's not good. Oh no, everyone's crushing it. Well done, guys. Alan's very sneaky, not got his video on. I reckon he's just done like about 100 of these, so. Well done, guys. And we're just gonna come into that low lunge position. So back, left knee down on the mat, right leg bent out in front of us, and we're just gonna keep the body long, head up, and we're just gonna come into our hip flexor by just leaning forward very slightly. And that should feel great. We've done a lot of work on those hip flexors today. So like I said, that standing acceleration body position is really gonna help because everything's led with your hip flexors. You know, toes down, hip flexors, just bringing the pedal stroke forward. And then we're going to go straight from a hip flexor stretch, come up into a bit of a hamstring. So this is quite hard. Like me, you have absolutely rubbish flexibility in your hamstrings. You might want to be grabbing for something, but just see if we can stretch those hamstrings off a bit. Because again, we work those, particularly in that glute bridge. Don't hold it too long. We'll come back into hip flexor and then back into the hamstring, and then we'll switch legs. So left leg out, body long, stretch that right hip flexor. That feels good. Come into left hamstring, right hip flexor again, left hamstring, and then come into cross-legged position if you can. If you can't do that, then legs straight out in front of you. So this in itself is going to be a bit of a glute and a bit of a hip opener, a bit of a stretch. We're just going to take the arms up to the ceiling. We're just going to fold forward, so hinge at the hip, and then put your hands down on the ground wherever it feels comfortable. Just hold it there for a couple of seconds. If your hands on your knees because you can't reach the floor, that's absolutely fine. And then walk our hands around to the left, have a tiny bit of a twist, and then walk our hands to the front, round to the right, back to the centre, hands up in the air again, and then we're just going to slight bend to each side, stretch off those QLs, or stretch off those obliques, the lats, give the spine a bit of mobility back. Really nice dynamic stretching, so I don't like holding a stretch for ages and ages if it's like a small muscle. It just needs to be like a really light dynamic stretch. Coming round, so we're lying on our mat. We're going to do the lying down pigeon. So great stretch for those glutes and hips. So we'll start off by having the right foot on the left thigh, and then just bringing that left leg up as close to your body as you feel comfortable. We're all cyclists, so flexibility is not going to be brilliant, but just do what you can. You can hold this stretch for a little bit longer because it's a really big muscle that we're stretching. Left leg down, and we'll swap over. And again, one side's always going to be tighter than the other, so that's why we really need to do both. We should always do both on everything, whether that's exercises or stretches. Legs down, and then if we come up into, you can either have your legs straight out in front of you or you can have a slight bend. We're just going to do a nice twist to finish off. So left leg on right knee, right arm behind your back, look over your right shoulder for a nice spine twist. Hold that for a couple of seconds. And then right hand on left knee, round to the other side, looking over the left shoulder for a nice deep stretch. And we're done. Awesome guys, well done. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. I'm just gonna unmute everyone. And if anyone's got any questions or any comments, go ahead. But you all did really, really well. I can all see like a little snapshot of you all. So I was spying on you when we were doing it. And no, you all did great. Well done, guys.
Thank you, Sophie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great job.
Has anyone got any questions?
I appreciate you, Soph. I'm going to take a yoga class now. So
Oh, cool. Nice one. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
All
See you
right.
next time.
See you next time, Robin.
Thank you.
Oh, good one. Nice one. How was that, David?
It was awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Michelle, did you feel that you did any of the exercises slightly better than last week?
I think I'm more tired this week.
Yeah.
So it was a little harder.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, still really good. I know that it's been great for my transverse abdominals.
Yeah.
I've needed that, and I didn't realize how much I did. So
Yeah. Well, they're really important because what a lot of people don't know is when you're doing any lower body movement, your brain obviously says, right, quads do this or hamstrings do that. But before it does that, it sends a message to your TVA first that says, right, engage, wake up, help support the back. And if you haven't been doing those types of exercises, that muscle never engages, that message never gets there. So it's really important obviously to activate it, but then if you can add a little bit of strength in there as well, then you know it's just going to add, you know, another dimension to your riding. So that's really cool.
yeah, I noticed this week that I had done that work last week. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, do you know what? It's funny because I've started to do a lot more of this recently, and I got a sprint PR last week, and the last thing I thought of before we did those mezzes was like, right, engage that core, you know, so you know all the power that you're you know putting out is being completely translated into the bike, and I think that was kind of the deal breaker. So it's definitely worth going, you know, keep going with it.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. How did you find it, Dan?
It was good. I mean, this is the first one I've done. I had to do 3 flights of stairs, 2 steps at a time,
Ah,
in between. So it worked out.
awesome. Fleet, how did you get on? Did you enjoy it? Apart from the face plant, obviously.
Yeah, it was good. I just went sync yesterday, so I'm kind of new to all this. So
Awesome.
interesting.
So you, what, mountain biker, road rider, gravel?
Road. I just started last July.
Oh,
So
nice.
I've almost 5,000 miles since then.
Awesome. That's cool. Well, hopefully you can join us again because we're going to do these, certainly throughout the lockdown period, we'll do them every Friday at this time. So if it's a good slot, put it in the diary and we'll mix it up again. And obviously I'm kind of assuming certain people have got certain equipment, so I'll just go with whatever we've got and try and make it different each week.
Yeah, I have every other Friday off from work. So
Okay, perfect.
Friday.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, cheers guys for joining. That's really cool. And obviously, Michelle, I'll speak to you before then, but everyone else, hopefully see you next week.
Sounds great. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Yay.
cheers.
Bye, thank you.
Enjoy your days. Cheers guys. Bye.